few years before lockdown, when I created Synergy, I lost my cousin to mental health. He was like a father figure to me. He was a huge inspiration. Deep inside, he was struggling. And there is more that can be done.
There are seasons in life when the noise becomes almost deafening. The noise of constant movement, the noise of doing instead of being, and the noise of a world that prioritizes productivity over presence. My guest this week is someone who dedicates her life to turning that noise down. Laura Montesanti is the founder and CEO of Synergy, the retreat show, the world's leading platform uniting retreat leaders, wellness practitioners, facilitators, travel advisors, and visionary venues from across the globe.
There is so much power there to impact people's lives positively. I said, we need to start from the industry that have the opportunity to provide to the public.
She is a certified yoga and meditation practitioner, a holistic wellness advocate, a strategic connector, and a global curator of conscious travel experiences. She bridges a number of worlds, from hospitality to well-being, culture, business, and also personal transformation, with one clear intention: to help people reconnect with themselves and with each other.
Wellness is something that is a necessity. I really think it should be something that people are taught how to experience and how you should be feeling.
In this conversation, we dive into the heart of conscious travel, what it means to move through the world with purpose, awareness, and intention. We talk about travel as transformation, not escape. We explore regenerative wellness, the importance of community, and why collaboration is no longer optional in this industry. It's essential.
I traveled all around the world really on my own. It was such a healing experience for me. So I really believe there is a huge potential there for people that haven't experienced that yet.
Her mission is simple but powerful: to heal the industry, heal our relationship with nature, and reconnect us to the communities that help us feel alive. This episode is an invitation to slow down, to travel consciously, to honour our inner world as much as our outer journey, and to remember that wellness is not a destination. It is a frequency, a choice, a practice, and most importantly, a community. So settle in, breathe, and join me in welcoming the visionary behind Synergy, the retreat show, Laura Montesanti. Helping us move beyond the noise of our busy lives into conscious, transformative travel is my guest this week, Laura Montesanti. Laura, welcome.
Hi, Steve. Thank you for having me.
All across the other side of the world.
Yes. Different season as well. Completely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we were just talking about the storms and you're going into the cooler weather a little bit now. So, Laura, I wanted to start by asking you, what does the noise of life mean to you?
Ooh, good question. The noise of life, what it means to me. I think it is really all the noise that prevents you from connecting to yourself. All the noise that really affects you in everyday life that we are so used to experiencing, but that really disconnect you. And there is a lot out there, more and more.
Yeah, lots of people, and I talk about it a lot, there's a lot of noise out there when it comes to relationships, when it comes to life, when it comes to career, when it comes to expectations. There's so many noises, and it's about how we tune into ourselves and tune into what we need and what we want, which is very much around your vision for what you're doing and what you've been doing around, wellness travel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is actually born from a moment of calmness, Synergy. I created Synergy during COVID, and that's because I managed to cut out that noise. It was finally a moment of silence. I mean, when you look back, you think, was that even real? Everything stopped. And I remember I was able to hear the birds outside. Usually you don't even hear the birds. And really that created calmness and a time for really connecting to the purpose And I think purpose is a very important word. I might use it a lot in our conversation today, but I think it's at the core of everything. And that was the moment for me to reconnect to my purpose. Finally, I could cancel all that noise, that everyday life, that when you get into that hamster wheel, you keep going, going, and going. And I managed to say, okay, what am I about? What do I want to do in this world to make a change and an impact out there? And what are my skills? What is my overall heritage that I have accumulated through my life so far? And that gave me clarity, and that gave me the moment to really say, okay, I really believe we need to do more for people out there to connect with themselves, to heal, especially to heal. And my thinking process was, how do we do that? And because I've been involved in the wellness industry, in the travel industry, personally and professionally, I've seen that there was a real disconnection there. But also I've seen the power that we could have if we do something as an industry. There is so much power there to impact people's lives positively. So I said, we need to start from the industry. We need to start from the people that are creating these experiences out there, that have the opportunity to provide to the public something that will help them healing. So I thought, how do I do this? How do I heal the industry, right? So I thought,
And interesting enough, you were
Yeah.
trying to heal an industry and take that courageous decision at a time when the travel industry was, in many countries and in many places, borders were closed, barriers were up, and that noise that cut out for you, there was a lot of noise in the industry. And I know my brother felt that, having started his travel advisory business, Mind and Body Travel, in 2019, and then COVID hit.
Yeah. It was a complete disruption for everything and everybody, but absolutely the travel industry was probably the most affected one. So yeah, it was hard, and maybe a little crazy to think to do an in-person event during a lockdown and to heal an industry that was in complete standstill and deterioration for sure. But I think you need a little bit of craziness. We all a little crazy. So I just fed my craziness.
Craziness and risk.
Exactly. So I thought, how am I gonna do this? How can we really make this change? And bringing people together, community is the most powerful thing. I have experienced that personally, and obviously during lockdown, that's one of the most crave things as well. But really, I've seen the power of community, and even people just coming together on Zoom at the time was so beautiful to see how bringing people together made us feel connected, made us feel like there was hope, right? So I thought, let's create a trade show that brings the wellness and the travel industry together. And if you think about it, actually, crazy enough, there was no one trade show out there that was dedicated to wellness travel. And I went a little deeper, and I thought, we're talking wellness. How do we heal the industry? We need to start from each person that works in the industry. We need to start from the individual. So Synergy is designed differently. It's not a normal trade show. It's very hard to explain sometimes to people when they contact us and they're like, oh, what is it? It's like, you kind of need to try it to get it. I can tell you in words, but until you feel it, it's very hard. It's like any experience in wellness. So that's why we put people in a space to feel. And that's for me is key. I want people to feel and to regenerate and understand on a deeper level what these practices out there can really do for you. and what time for yourself can really do for you. So the program is designed really to, um, uh, experience different classes, different workshops, and discuss things that are very important to be discussed on a industry level, but also on a personal level. So we have an experiential and informational side of the event on top of the usual networking space with 30 meetings of 20 minutes throughout 3 days. So that's, I think, where the magic really happens, where people connect on a deeper level during this experiential time. And we have seen that people need to reconnect to themselves. And one thing that I felt throughout my business career, and when I stopped during COVID, I thought, gosh, I'm getting this time to recover. I was going from trade show to business meeting, flying here and there, and feeling completely drained. And sometimes attending trade show on the other side of the world, great, sounds fantastic, but the travel drains you. You get to the other side of the world, you lock yourself up in a room, big, beautiful conference room, but no daylight for 3 days. And then you come out completely shaken and go back to where you came from.
Yeah. And then you've
Um,
got jet lag and all the things that play with you
on
as
top
well.
of it, exactly. So I'm like, there must be a way to do business in a more holistic way as well. Why do we do this to ourselves? And that's the other part of the purpose of synergies, changing that narrative that you can only do business in a certain way. You can do business by just being you, connecting as a person. Just bring down that business persona and strip yourself to who you are. And then that connection is so much deeper. People relate to you more deeply, and the connections that you forge, they are staying for way longer than a business relation. And business happens anyways. So this is really at the core of what's happened to me during COVID lockdown.
Yeah. What a beautiful event. What a beautiful initiative and movement that you've created. And speaking on what you were saying around, it's hard to describe. I remember my brother saying to me, "Oh, you went to the one in Bali for the first one," and he was trying to explain it to me, and I'm like, "Okay." So I came into Sardinia thinking, "What is this?" Like knowing I've got a passion for wellness and well-being, and I love human connection, and I love collaboration, and seeing how can I help them, and how can they help me, and how as a community, we can actually grow together. Because I think so many people think they've got the scarcity mindset. Oh no, I can't share ideas, or I can't share this, or I can't share that. It's like planning the men's retreat at Eremito for next year after attending Chris's, and then I was having a meditation, and I'm like, hang on, why don't I get some of the men from Synergy and let's try and put a retreat together, and let's try and do that every year. And I said to the guys when I caught up with them recently, and a couple of us will push ahead with the retreat next year, but I said the year after, we might have another couple of men join, and we can just kind of work through it. And it's quite exciting building that connection and collaboration. And we've got a WhatsApp chat which is Synergy Men from the group, and it just these all these initiatives. It's just building connection. On that, Laura, I'd love to ask you, obviously there's a large element of female presence in the wellness industry and wellness travel. Um, what do you see as the opportunity for men in that space?
Oh, it's so needed. It's really so needed. I think, men need to feel spoken to out there. And, as when you bring community together, you kind of speak this similar language and you understand in more depth your needs. Like now there are lots of retreats that are aiming to menopause or perimenopause and specific segments of life that are related to women. But men goes through so much. And the best way to relate to that is men. They get it. They understand. And I think there is a huge gap there. And there is so much need for men out there to feel spoken to, because throughout generations, there has been this narrative that men are not allowed to feel. The men have to be, put in this facade of being strong, the breadwinner, da 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 da, which hasn't allowed men to say, I'm not feeling okay. I'm not okay. I need to do something. And there is no streamline there to allow them to connect with someone that will give them that breathing space and the tools to heal. So as many other topics, fortunately, have dropped, that big taboo stigma, like we can say menopause now kind of thing, like that's another one that I feel has dropped. Finally, men can show that they can be vulnerable and they need support. So I hope that there is more out there done for men. And I am pushing for more men to enter this space, enter the wellness industry, the travel industry in different forms and shapes. And actually, to go deeper on this is actually one of the reasons why I started Synergy as well. Few years before lockdown and when I created Synergy, I lost my cousin to mental health. He was like a father figure to me. He was like a huge, kind of someone I looked up to, an inspiration. And he was struggling. Deep inside, he was struggling. And, there is more that can be done. So I hope that there is more of this space being taken over for men retreats and anything that will speak to men. So the language change, the right information to be shared.
Because the interesting thing is, and it was interesting, meeting with a lot of retreat leaders, female retreat leaders in Sardinia, having conversations, and a lot of them were like, oh, I'd love my husband or I'd love my boyfriend to attend a men's retreat, but he just doesn't really know where to reach out to. And that was kind of where the idea, once I'd attended Eremito with Chris, with him running his Soul Degree reunion and meeting Marcello, and I was like, let's do one next year that aligns similar with Synergy, and because that may actually bring some more partners and also more people in the industry that can attend these kind of events as a kind of a before or after the event.
Absolutely. And speaking with Scotty, who I know you connected with, we were chatting about this in the past as well, and he was saying, yeah, and sometimes I do need to use a different language to be able to attract men, to make them feel they are allowed to get on a retreat. So it's not a healing retreat, but it's an adventure retreat. And then they're okay with that. But then the coaching happens, the transformation happens in different ways and forms and shapes that will speak to men. So I'm so happy to hear when these collaborations happen. So well done, Steve, for initiating that, because I really hope that more and more of this space will, grow and evolve. There is so much need. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the things as well is that some of the great conversations I had with people in Sardinia was very much around, how different men and women are in how they heal, how they approach wellness travel. And I think there's a real opportunity there, because a lot of the female retreat leaders and people in that industry that I met were saying, oh, I've got retreats which are co-ed, so it's men and women. And they're like, but, as a female retreat leader, I can only offer them some yoga and meditation. I can't, relate to them fully. And I think there's a real opportunity there. The interesting thing is when I brought the Synergy men together and we were having a meeting, it was interesting. Three of the guys actually said, we love facilitating, but we're actually thinking we'd just like to attend one. So, and I said, brilliant. And I said, but yeah. And I said to them, and that's fine. And I said, but I know that if you attend, you're not just going to attend as an attendee, because the wisdom and the strength and the impact that you bring to the world is going to be brought to the group as an attendee.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'm really looking forward to
So powerful. Oh my gosh. I'm so
next
happy.
year, and how it proceeds in further years, and it'll just build
Yeah.
and build, which will be great. Yeah, it's just a beautiful conference and a beautiful movement, but it definitely is hard to describe or explain.
Yeah. You have to feel
So
it. It's about feelings and the energy in the air, the energy between people, right? That's one of the things that I can't transfer until you're there. I can't make you feel and understand until you're there. It's really the energy of everybody coming together and these amazing individuals that, you know, they resonate with this, and they are coming with purpose and intention. So it really
yeah,
shows. Yeah.
perfect. That's awesome. Laura, if I ask you about your travel journey, where did your love for travel first start?
Ooh. So, many years ago, I used to live in London, and London has a very dynamic and hectic lifestyle. So you don't even realize, and sometimes you do feel you need that break. And was a great hub to travel from. So I was able, even at my young age, to then say, okay, I need to stop. I need to find a place to travel to. And that's where my connection to something that I call destination energy started. I would really stop and think, what do I feel I need right now? And I would scan the world to get that kind of understanding of the energy I would get back from every destination, the heritage presence, the landscapes, the dynamics, the travel, the cultural exposure, and a lot of the wellness elements that I could find there. And then I would decide, right now I need to feel re-energized. And somehow I would be feeling called to places like South America, Central America, vibration or something like this. Or real nature, like strong nature. Or I need calm and peace and zone out completely. And I would feel called to maybe India or somewhere else that would allow me to explore that. And I really tuned with myself and this destination energy every time that I had to select a trip and decided where to go. And I used to travel a lot, and always alone was one of the things that I was a big solo traveler, backpacker. I traveled all around the world really on my own. And it was such a healing experience for me. Every time I would go away and connect with these new places, I would feel regenerated, and would feel so much more connected to myself. It would give me that opportunity to really stop and listen to what I needed and find things around me to help me healing. And there I seen the healing power of travel for myself throughout all these years, in many forms and shapes. So I really believe there is a huge, huge potential there for people that haven't experienced that yet. But also for the industry to understand how much power they have if they do allow people to have that space where noise gets cut down, and they allow people to connect with nature or experiences that will help them healing and provide that. So how we do holidays is very important. And I think that's shifting in people a lot. I really think, especially since COVID, people are approaching holidays with a different mindset. But people are stopping to wanting to collect moments, I think, and really starting to wanting to collect purpose for themselves and meaningful experiences. So there is a real mindset shift, I really think. So that's where I started. And then, I mean, there are so many trips that I have done that have really changed my life and experiences. And
Yep.
yeah.
Could you share one of those? What's one of your trips that's really that you can just, almost close your eyes and it takes you back to that experience?
Ooh, there are many. There are many. Some really powerful in different ways, but one of my favorite trips is always the one to Nepal. I have to say, Nepal is one of my uh, kind of healing spaces. I was in India for one of my teacher trainings, and I opened a a Lonely Planet guide. And I opened it up and I was reading through and I found this lake called Kura Lake. And it was a lake that was, I think, is the highest freshwater lake or something. Anyway, it was something quite unique about it. I looked beautiful and so serene. And I said, I want to go there. So as soon as I finished my teacher training, I just got my stuff together and went on a mission. It wasn't that easy to get there. Took me many days. So first I had to cross the borders, on buses. And then when I got to mainland Nepal, I started walking. And I started from a very small village where first thing I found out straight away, the power of community was unbelievable. I found myself early morning at the center of this little town, surrounded by people that were starting their walk to get to the next town. And they will all carry, provisions. They were, they went down to mainland to go back up to their little village in the mountains. And I was, in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know where I was going, but thanks to this community, I felt supported and I started walking with them. And from there, the journey started. I walked for 8 days in the Himalayas, going up to different towns, sleeping sometimes in cow sheds. You would get to these little places in the middle of nowhere and then be like, can I sleep here? And they would just get the cows out, clear it up and be like, here on a table, like, sure. And then you sleep there. They were feeding me. Amazing sense of community and support. And, many times we couldn't speak to each other, but there was just this deep connection with each other and this purity and this, support. There wasn't for something in return. It was really just pure support and was just beautiful. And I experienced that all the way to the large town that was called Jumla, all the way on top there. And then when I got there, I realized that the next step to get to Rara Lake was just quite a challenge. Altitude, and I wasn't prepped. I didn't even have, the right shoes or a heavy jacket. And I thought, okay, I need to buy something here, and realized I didn't have money with me, enough money. So much for a big traveler, right? But I was not prepared. I was very naive and I thought, I'm just going to do this. So I was walking in town and I bumped into, I was going to find a place to get cash. And I realized that I couldn't get cash at the local bank. There was no way to get cash with a card. So I was like, oh, what am I going to do? So I was walking back to my hotel and I bumped into 3 generals from the local army. And they were like, who are you? What are you doing here? And mean, there were no tourists. And I told them I just really wanted to go to this lake. I don't know how am I gonna get there. And they said, you have to get to this lake. It's very important. So they took me to a little cafe and they said, wait here. Next thing I know, they brought a local guy that was meant to speak Italian, apparently, from what they said. I think the main Italian word he knew was ciao, and he stopped there. But I was like, yeah. But it was going to take me all the way to Rara. They said, don't worry, we give you some money, you give them back to us when you go back to mainland. And, you know, once you get to Rara, we have a settlement there, you can stay there and then go back. And that's what I did. I walked for 3 days with this man that guided me through the mountains, and it was just beautiful. It was just the peace and the quietness in nature was so healing and so profound as an experience. Connecting with the locals, it was just beautiful. I met this little girl. She was walking up the mountains for days, and she had this big chest on her shoulder. She must have been like 13. She was walking alone for days. And I remember I stopped to rest under a tree, and she stopped as well. And then she looked at me and she was like, John, which means let's go in Nepalese. And then she gave me her hand. And she held my hand, and we walked hand in hand for hours. Not even speaking. But it was just, that connection was just so beautiful. And I still look back at her like my sister. She told my guide, was like, oh, she's my sister. So yeah, these experiences that are just amazing. And then obviously getting to the lake was like, you know, when you get to a peak and you reach the peak of a mountain and you're like, oh, wow. So I cried. It was like the most beautiful emotion. So when I look back, I think probably that was the most powerful trip for me. It's just that also achieving something like that was just really special. But then the connection with the people was just so profound. So
yeah. Wow. I always love the connection with communities and cultural and villages. You know, when I go to places, you know, even when we took our boys to places, we'd get off at an island somewhere and it'd be like, take us to somewhere that's not on the brochure, right? Because that's where you get the real experiences. And it's interesting, as you were telling that story, you know, it really reminds me why I've named this the Noise of Life podcast. And, you know, we talk about noises in life, noises in travel, but, you know, you can watch the news and there's war and there's so much negativity, right? But you can choose your own frequency to tune into, right? And, you know, a lot of people would look at the news and look at social media and look at all the different things that are being said out there and all the dramas in the world. But at the end of the day, you know, why you've built Synergy and why you've, you know, got this massive passion for this wellness and wellbeing industry is to remind people that this purity and this peace and this culture and this wellness exists in the world. You know, I love going to places like, you know, Eremito, or if I've been to places in New Zealand or whatever it is. And I just sit there and I go, do you know what? The world could be ending and we wouldn't know, right? My brother and I did the overland track. I did it 2 years in a row down in Tasmania. If you ever want to come and do a hike, overland track is just beautiful in Australia. But doing that, you know, you basically, I think there might be half a day where you might have some telephone coverage, but other than that, nothing, right? And each day you're finishing and you're connecting and you're talking and you're sitting around having your soup or whatever at the campsite and you're hiking, and just on so many levels you grow, right? I have a lot of people that say to me sometimes, "Oh, why do you travel so much?" And I say, "How much have you traveled?" And they go, "Oh, I've never traveled." And I'm like, well, don't start because it's addictive, right? Because once you do these things, you know, you're telling your story, and I'm sitting there going, I haven't been to Nepal yet. I'm like, I'm almost I'm almost jumping on messaging Mark, although Mark's in Antarctica at the moment. But I'm almost messaging Mark going, oh, Nepal's a good one. Because at the end of the day, you don't know in life when you can't travel anymore. You know, we'll all reach a point where it's hard to travel, one, whether it's health or medical, whether it's mobility, So for me, like I'm 41 and I travel a lot, and people go, and even Americans, they're so funny. They're like, how do you just travel? Like it just doesn't make sense to us. It's like, oh, just travel over and they just don't get it, because I think as Australians, a lot of us are like, oh, let's travel. Oh, let's go to Europe. Let's go to America. Let's go to, Italy. Let's go to Asia. And it's just done like that. Whereas in America, it's not as, it's not as, I don't know. They've got a different mindset, I think, over there.
Yeah, it's funny to see how different culture react differently, but also within the culture, I see a lot of my friends in Italy, they don't really travel. They usually go to the same place in Italy on holiday every year. It's like the usual. And it's okay. But I think once you try and you see and you experience how much more is there and how much you fulfill with all these different experiences and knowledge is addictive. It is.
Yeah. What does wellness mean to you? Like if you had to, what does wellness mean to you if you had to describe it?
Well, to me, wellness is something that is a necessity. Um, I think, I really think it's something that, like you are taught how to read at school. I really believe that should be something that people are taught how to experience and how you should be feeling. And I don't know why we don't do that sincerely or teach you breathwork at school. I mean, it's really basics for feeling good and feeling right and living well and living and knowing how you're meant to be feeling or how feeling good should feel in your body and in your mind is such an important thing. So, yeah, for me, wellness has been a journey and it's going to always be a journey. I have experienced not feeling well. I have experienced not feeling well physically and mentally. And I went through it. And every time that happens, you're reminded of how important and powerful it is to feel right. And don't take it for granted ever. So learning all these different practices throughout my life have given me that insight of how much there is out there that will support your life to feel good and your life to feel healthier and more whole, right? And that's where really I think the power of these things, and I think there is not enough information and not enough, they're not shared enough with people. And I really hope for more people to have access to this because I seen how powerful it was in my life. So that's what wellness has meant to me. And that's why I'm on that path of sharing it because I really experienced it. Yeah.
Yeah. And wellness isn't a destination, as you say, it's the journey.
Mhm.
And we go through different journeys and we learn more tools and strategies, what kind of lifts us up and what kind of, pushes us down a little bit. And I think when you think about wellness and, one of the panels in Sardinia, we're talking about this around, what is wellness, and we're talking about the urban centers and different things. But the interesting thing is that everyone has accessibility to wellness, right? Like the large portion of the population of the world
Mm-hmm.
can do breath work, right? You've got YouTube now, you've got accessibility to do yoga classes, to do all these different things from the comfort of your home, or even just on your phone screen, right? And I think there's a real opportunity, as the panel had kind of mentioned, around, well, how do we make some of these things more accessible? Because there's obviously, people that can't afford to, like, as we saw, there's some amazing exhibitors at Synergy, where you can go and get your full blood tests and your scans and all your infusions and all those kind of things, which is amazing. For a lot of people, that's actually like a distant dream, but it's about, how do those exhibitors, how do those in the luxury space actually give back to provide more accessibility to those that maybe not be able to invest that kind of money in that. So I'm looking forward to the future of wellness travel and how that kind of grows. Where do you see wellness travel going in the years ahead? What would you like to see?
Well, just to add to what you just said, just a couple of things. One is, I think, to make it more accessible, information is key. Information. And as an industry and with media and everything, we have the power to bring out more information. That's the main thing that will reach further. So if we as an industry provide that information, do our own due diligence and support people out there to with resources and the knowledge, then we'll make it more accessible, because now people can access information more easily. But then things like, many things that are simple things, like you said, breath work, can be accessible to anyone. And one thing that I love, and we actually do a Synergy, is smiling. The power of smiling is something that is so, under the radar for many people. If you just sit sometimes and smile with your eyes closed and breathe through your smile, your body will feel good. It will give you that moment of, rest and regeneration just by yourself. And that's accessible to anyone, but it's not talked about. It's not shared enough. It's not, many people don't have the time for it, but that doesn't need much time. So as I said, information and sharing these practices is really important. Where do I see the industry going? Is so refreshing to see. Is evolving finally in the right direction. I think we had been allowed to now talk about some taboo topics and bringing them into the industry so that we'll be able to support people. But I see a lot of changes in the mindset of the operators. Now, wellness is not anymore a product. Now, wellness is a way of living, a way of being within your company. So I start seeing companies doing practices for their own employees. I start seeing companies understanding what regeneration mean within the sphere and the, property or business, connecting to community, supporting the community. There is a lot happening. Many times we forget giving back is so healing for yourself. You think you're doing a lot for the people, you're doing a lot for yourself at the same time, believe me. And sometimes people are like, I have to give time. I don't know. I feel tired. It's like sometimes when I was teaching yoga years back, I would be like on an active schedule and then go and do my class and be like, oh gosh, I don't know if I can do this today. I'm so tired. And then you stop, you breathe, you teach the class. And I was getting so much more back from teaching and sharing. And you see that with regenerative travel and support of local charities or local communities. The properties or the businesses that started doing that see the impact on themselves. It's not about ticking that box or you know um, uh, being able to put that label on your business saying I'm regenerative, I'm sustainable. It has a huge impact in the way then your place feels, because the people that are involved in your business experience this, and the community experience you in a different way. And what the energy that you create within your business and around you is profound, and people that then come to your property feel it. So it's a huge shift, and I'm very happy to see it. I think more and more of that will come. I've seen so many properties that come as synergy, and we do actually speak with everyone that attends, by the way. Like, we take time to have a call, explain the ethos of the event, and also the intention and the purpose that you should have, the mindsets when you come and what to expect. But we do our due diligence with the properties. And when we have this conversation, I see people that are ready to change and evolve what they're offering with wellness. So many, they were, for many years, wellness was like, okay, I have a spa, I do wellness. Yes, we give massages, we do wellness. And finally, they're seeing how much more I can do. How can I go deeper? What else I can do with the space that we have as well, which is something that in the past I've seen was often overlooked. Some properties had a beautiful forest next door, and they were like, I have a spa, downstairs in the basement. And that's the wellness space. Wow, that forest, guys, use it. And if you do go for a walk in a mindful way, you take your guests in nature, sometimes that's worth 10 times 10 massages you could have experienced in the spa. So the mindset is shifting. People are ready to evolve. And with information available, we are seeing lots of change. What people will seek more and more is authentic experiences and real connection. And that's something we have seen happening. So when you provide that environment that really regenerates, people will resonate with it for sure. Yeah.
And it's helping support properties and people that maybe are inquisitive or curious around and that's the beauty of synergy, is that, I loved meeting with properties that may not have really suited what I, was looking for, but then they were like, talk to me about, what would you like to see in our property, or what suggestions, or what things do you think we could consider to actually be able to appeal to retreat leaders, or, bring, maybe it's at the start of the trip. And Sally talked about this as well before we went into the first lot of meetings, and said, it's about, asking each other, well, what do you offer? Okay, we don't really align, or we're probably not going to work with each other, but tell me more. And, like I said to a few, exhibitors and retreat leaders, was like, oh, I'm going to connect you to this person, or I'm going to connect you to that person that's not even at the retreat, right? That's not even at the conference. And I think that's where the power is. And I think that's where the future of wellness travel needs to go, is that there's so many amazing retreat leaders. There's so many people playing in this space in different countries around the world. And like I said to a lot of the female retreat leaders, come and do a retreat in Australia. Let's collab. Let's do one in Australia, because then I've got someone here, and then let's collab over in Italy, or let's collab over in America or Puerto Rico or whatever it is, because you just spread, and also you kind of spread the awareness, but you also just spread the, I suppose, the message of wellness, and create more opportunities for people around the world in different places to actually really connect with themselves, but also to connect with how absolutely beautiful this world is.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, the other segment that is very important that is also shifting is the travel agents, the ones that put together these packages and sell the destination or sells the retreats. And they are understanding how important it is to provide something like this to their clients. But also they are learning how to speak about wellness with their clients, which is something that obviously wellness and well-being is something that is a very sensitive topic. But finally, we are seeing travel agents informing themselves and understanding how they can convey that, how they can, um, go through the prerequisites that will make them understand that that person might need this specific wellness experience or might need to go on that type of retreat. And they're able to talk with their clients about it now. There is no fear or overstepping the boundaries because people are more ready for it, and also they're learning how to do it. So it's very nice to see how on that side as well things are shifting. So, and
Yeah, and
collaboration, as I said, is
it's adding it in. Like I know when Mark first went to Synergy in Bali, then a couple of months later, I was heading to Bali because I spent a bit of time over in Bali and we support a couple of schools over there. But Mark actually, I said, I kind of, after I go up and visit the schools and the villages, I want a wellness. So I went and stayed at Como Shambhala, which he'd met, so it was amazing. And, my sister just recently went to Revivo in Bali as well and experienced that. And I'm doing a charity ride next October after Synergy and after the men's retreat in Thailand. And I was chatting to Mark and I said, I'd really like to probably spend a few days in a retreat. He's like, oh, we've got some great opportunities in Thailand. So it's about, when you're traveling, just that connection and just that awareness. And, the hardest thing is there's so many good places. How do we travel to them all in our lifetime?
I know, it's very hard. It's so many places to see. Yeah, I make a list, and there is like a long list.
Laura, obviously next year is in Croatia, which is very exciting. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So yeah, next year we pick Croatia. Is a different part of Croatia than the place that probably all people know, which is the area near Dubrovnik in the southern part. This is the Istria region, which is in the north, closer to Italy and Slovenia, and is a beautifully natural area. Slovenia is also a stunning region. It's literally like few minutes drive in one way. Is really an opportunity to explore, I think, this different region. And I always try and let the destination speak to me for the team for the next year. And this year, what came to me was definitely the healing power of nature. And therefore, this will be the underlying theme for the event, but also with adventure and freedom as parts of the conversation. I think freedom is a big word. When I first came up with it, my marketing team was like, "Oh no, let's stay away from that." Like it's like, Laura, it's too controversial nowadays. But I'm like, no, we need to talk about it. And I worked in Montenegro for 4 years back. I actually developed a luxury marina there. So I was based there for a while, and they, I experienced the country in different ways. The work environment was very hard. We had a very hectic schedule. We were on, deadlines, and so for me, it was a very difficult time in my life. But I got to connect with the culture, which was beautiful, and the sense of community in these little villages. Freedom in wellness can mean so many things. Free yourself from things that you have put on yourself for so long. Free yourself from the noise that surrounds you. Free yourself from preconceptions and anything else. So it's a giant topic, but probably because of that, that's something that was very strong within me. And I thought, we need to talk about freedom in general and how important it is to appreciate it nowadays, how important it is to really connect to what you can free within yourself and around you. So, yeah, nature is a fantastic conducive, how can you say, conducive tool to freedom. When you are in nature, you experience that purity and the space and the infinite opportunities that you have to feel free and to feel stripped from all the other things that are not important. So yeah, I think is a very important thing that we will explore this year. And you
that
see,
nature and adventure, which kind of led me to go, well, it's a great year to kind of really try and champion more men into stepping out in nature and stepping out in adventure. So I'm really excited for that. If you were to speak to the different segments of the industry that, you know, may not know much about Synergy, obviously they've heard your insights and your reflections and everything like that. But what would you say to those that are curious about attending Croatia in 2026?
I think if you feel ready to explore, how you can evolve personally, and you feel ready to collaborate, then this is the place for you to be. One thing that we hear from many attendees after the event is that they feel re-inspired in what they do. And I think that's something that is very needed, to feel reconnected to your purpose is something really important to allow you to go forward and see, as I said, the infinite opportunities and potentials out there. I think that's something that people get from the event. So if that's what you're looking for, we are your place to be.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, when are you bringing it to Australia, Laura?
Oh, I love to, believe me. Yeah, it's a possibility. We'll see when. We never,
Because
reveal location until the last day. So we'll
I
see.
know,
But
I know, I know,
definitely
but I
open to
think
it.
the Australian travel and tourism industry would really love to see Synergy in Australia. I think it would have a lot of support. I think it would blow your numbers out of the water, I think, for attendance, because I think there is a really growing trend in Australia as it is globally, but there's a lot of people in Australia that will travel and they will step into that wellness and well-being space. So a good opportunity there to put that on the vision board.
Absolutely, with pleasure.
Now, Laura, if people want to connect with you, connect with Synergy, what are the best ways for them to do that?
For any inquiry, feel free to email info@theretreatshow.com. And follow us on socials. We always, keep everybody updated with anything. So that's Synergy Retreat Show on Instagram, and Synergy the Retreat Show on LinkedIn, and also we have Facebook. Sign up to the newsletter on our website and have a look at the website. We have a beautiful video that showcase the experience. You can get a little bit of that energy through the video, but obviously it's not the same. So the retreatshow.com, and and hopefully we'll meet in person.
Yeah, that'd be great. I jumped on, did my application and paid all up. So I'm looking forward to being there in Croatia, running the men's retreat afterwards, and catching up with the crew and meeting some new faces as well, and just being within that environment and just being an environment where people want to grow, people want to see people healthy, look after their wellness, and genuinely, for me, synergy from the retreat leaders and from the providers there, it wasn't really just about making money. It was about making impact. And I think that is the real key thing. So anyone listening that, is in the media or a travel advisor, a retreat leader, an exhibitor, a property anywhere in the world, I would say, if you want to make an impact in this world, if you want to step into this wellness space, then you've got to chat to Laura and the team with Synergy.
Amazing. Well said, Steve. Exactly that. Thank you so much. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing you in Croatia. It will be really special. So
it'll be beautiful. I've never been to Croatia, so I'm looking forward to it. But Laura, I really appreciate your time. It's been great to share some of your insights and your passion and purpose for the wellness industry and hear some of your travel stories and experiences. And I look forward to seeing you in Croatia.
yes. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Laura.